So what is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Ask Ray. I'm Ray, I'm the host of this show. If you have a question for me that I have yet to answer, please feel free to leave it down below in the comments and I'll be sure to square you away in a future video. Hey Ray, what is your approach and solution to when you're experiencing writer's block? When you get to a point where you can't finish a song because you don't have any ideas left? Thanks, man. So I've said this before in another video, there's two things I would do. First off, if I sit down right now and I'm like, alright, I'm gonna write a cool riff, I'm gonna be creative, and it just doesn't work, I hit the eject button and I start working on something else, like practicing like scales and playing to a metronome, all the boring stuff, the book work. And the reason being is because if you try to force yourself to be creative and it's just not working, you're just gonna waste time. You're not gonna come up with anything cool and creative, in my opinion, more often than not. And then you're also just wasting your practice time, so you're just wasting time in general. So if you sit down and you're like, ah man, I can't think of anything cool, just take a chill pill, just work on something else. It'll come to you, it'll manifest itself eventually. I really do believe that. But also too, let's say I've practiced enough and I've tried to really think of something I just literally can't. I just do kind of the ignorant thing, like what would my 19-year-old self like? And I try to write the sickest breakdown I can think of it on the spot, because breakdowns are cool. I like breakdowns. I've always liked them ever since I was a kid. And if I try to think of a cool composition that really hits home and brings the song to an end and it just doesn't work, man, I'll just put the brakes on the song and I'll just come up with a cool breakdown and then just end it on that.
Stop taping over the logos.
That's cool, that's a lot of fun. I couldn't figure out how to end it, so I just threw in a breakdown, and it sounds really good. So that's what I would do. Have you messed with any modern fuzz pedals in a while? I know you love overdrives with gain amps. Some fuzz pedals as a boost can rip. No, I've actually never really tried that at all. I'm not really a fuzz guy because fuzz pedals are kind of hard to mix and get to sit right, kind of. Maybe one day, but nah, I don't really mess with fuzz pedals. The only one that I would really want to try, honestly, was the Fortin fuzz pedal. What's that called? I forget what it's called, but yeah, I'd probably want to try that one out. Hey Ray, what exactly do you mean by memorizing the fretboard? Learning the actual letter note names or learning different scales? Both. Long story short, literally just learn where every single note is, every single octave on the fretboard. So if somebody walked up to you and said, hey, play me a C sharp, you could find it in at least 3 spots. And to answer part 2 of your question, I guess, is the different scales. Well, you need to know scales because you need to know what you can play in a band setting. If the chord progressions, let's say I'm in, I don't know, A major. My chord progression's 1, 2, 4, 5. Very common chord progression there. And then they're like, all right, write it in Dorian. Give me the Dorian mode of A major. You got to know what that is. And you gotta come up with it quick, because if you don't, I always say this all the time, in the music business and just life in general, there's always somebody else that's just right there chomping at the bit to take your spot. This happens a lot with sports too. There's always somebody working harder than you. There's always somebody more talented than you. So if you land the gig, you got to know everything. So that's just my own opinion. Just don't shortchange yourself. Just literally know everything about music theory and know everything about the guitar. And then when you do get an opportunity or a job, you don't give them a reason to fire you. So that's what I believe. Keep the videos coming, Ray. What will be your live rig when Lunamware Today debuts? Oh man, that's gonna be a lot of fun whenever that day happens, whenever this whole thing's over. That's a hard question. I think 4x12 Mesa Cab, that guy right there, or the Marshall Cab, because the Marshall Cab's a little bit lighter, but that one certainly sounds better. Will definitely be the Cab. In terms of amp, it was going to be my EVH EL34 until it broke down again. It just broke down 2 weeks ago. So maybe just my Mesa Boogie Mark 525, just because that's light and convenient. And then just an overdrive pedal, and maybe a delay, but other than that, that'll be it. And then guitar, probably, definitely my 78 Les Paul Custom. I'm in love with that thing right now. And then for drop B, it would probably just be one of the Strats with the EMGs. How would you go if your band was trying to produce music and become popular? I would do this right now, what I'm doing right now. I would just hop on the internet and turn yourself into a virus, in the sense that you just don't go away. You just don't stop, and you don't give your audience a reason to forget about you. You just constantly put out content, and quality content, and you just keep pushing. And whether that's writing songs, whether that's just band vlogs or whatever, studio vlogs, or just have your audience and have your fan base just never forget about you, and constantly put yourself out there and put out quality content. And in my opinion, you'll have no choice but to continue to grow. You know, that would just be my advice, especially now in 2020 when everybody's doing this and everybody's extremely talented and everybody's got their own, you know, shtick about them and their own thing that makes them and, you know, makes them stand out. I would personally just map out everything you want to do, everything you want to create, set a deadline for yourself, and then once that deadline hits, once you pass that threshold, to start pushing out quality content, and yeah, it'll only make you guys better, your band better, make yourself better, and make your music better, as well as it'll grow your fan base, and it'll certainly just, it's a foolproof plan in my opinion. I see no reason why you won't grow if you just like put out a video every day or put out a song every week, or you know what I mean, just constantly just put out stuff. So that's what I would do. So guys, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in till the end. Again, one more time, if you have a question for me, you want to ask it, please feel free to leave it down below and I'll be sure to square you away in a future video. I'm out of here, guys. A huge shout out to all my patrons and everybody watching at home. Stay metal, everybody, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.